Free to Cook with ECP-TV, and this is a special edition of ECP-TV. I'm here with Dr. John Hubbard. He is a professor at UNT Dallas.
That's right.
And he teaches human resources management, logistics, economic development, and economics. Did I get that right?
You got it right. That's
wow,
pretty good.
Okay. And he's my friend, actually, so that's why I remembered. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the economy, because we're coming out of COVID. We're still, well, we're not really coming out of COVID, are we? Because you still had a mask on earlier.
Oh, I'll be wearing a mask for
the
a while,
rest of your life.
Yeah, I hope not.
I know, but it looks good on you. And then we also have now, you know, the stuff going on with the riots and the protesting. So the economy is dying, or is it? Tell us about what you think, what's going on.
The economy is definitely at a point where it's not working correctly.
Okay.
And I think probably the best way to go in and talk about the economy, just kind of do a economics 101.
Okay, that's
how
good.
That works.
Yeah.
And so what usually happens in an economy are based really on transactions.
Mm-hmm.
And so you say, well, we'll say, John, what's a transaction?
Right, exactly.
So what's a transaction?
I buy something from you, or I want something from you, and you can give it to me.
We exchange either money or credit.
Right, exactly.
For services or goods.
Okay.
And that's a transaction. And then you have many transactions, and then you have different markets. So you may have a financial market, a farming market, and there are transactions in each one of those.
Right.
Now, so how do you grow the economy? How do you grow that? There are two ways you can do it.
Right now, you're saying that this can happen for us to...
Anytime.
Okay.
There are two ways to grow the economy. Either you become more productive, which means you make more transactions.
Okay.
Or you extend credit.
Okay.
And
all right.
the banks give credit, and that's another way. So that way you can buy more things without being more productive. You understand that?
Yeah,
means.
right.
So it becomes cyclic. It's really kind of neat because, well, it's neat the way it works, because when you get the transactions going,
right,
and then just like you were saying,
the producer,
the producer,
our producer who stays behind the camera,
how it multiplies, because you've got this set amount of dollars.
Right, $100 bill, I think is what he had mentioned.
Yeah, you take that, and then it's enabled to make a transaction with something else, and it goes on and goes on. But what's happening now is, with the required stay-at-home orders, a couple things have stopped. Well, the main thing is you stop transactions.
Right,
and,
exactly.
So there are two things that happen with that, with transactions being stopped. One, you've got the transactions of goods and services. That's gone away. Right. And then, to a lesser extent, you've got those banks that lend the credit. That kind of is hampered. Right. And so it kind of snowballs on each other. Now, credit is good. Credit can be bad, but credit can be good. Now, when it's good let's see, what's the way that I can say this? It extends productivity. Okay, yeah, I can tell you're a teacher. You're a good teacher, aren't you? It can, because, like, let's say you are a farmer. Okay, so, well, let me give you another example. Okay. You buy a television that's on credit. Well, that's not really extending your productivity, because you're just sitting there, unless you do something.
Yeah, like knitting or something while watching TV. Or
maybe it's not really using that to do that. So your productivity isn't necessarily extended. When you do something like that. So, and another thing that credit does, you're really kind of borrowing into your future, because you've got X amount of dollars that you got to pay that back. So that's why there's a cycle. But say you're a farmer and you buy a tractor, and that tractor makes you to be more productive. It has to be more.
You can do things faster.
You can do things faster, so it makes you more productive. You get more money, so you can spend. See, the thing is, in economics, when I spend something, someone else's it becomes theirs.
Right.
And so then they've got that, so that's a transaction that's completed. So then they can go out, and then they can do that same thing too. Right. So when you spend something, the other person, it becomes their income. And then it just goes around and goes around and goes around. So what's happening now with COVID is, and with the required stay-at-home, we're stopping that basic element of transactions.
So are people just sitting on their money then? Or they
and that's another thing. I'm glad you asked that. People are not spending as much, even with the stimulus
Right.
People are still not making because they're uncertain.
So they're not spending.
They're not spending it. So what's happening? You're stopping the transactions. So let's say you had, let's say you had a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
You had a guy that owned 10 restaurants.
Right.
And he goes out and he borrows some money, and gets extended credit so he can be more productive, keep things up.
Right.
And the stay-at-home orders go away.
Mm-hmm.
So, but people still are hesitant.
Yeah.
About
nobody
coming
knows
back.
what's going to happen.
So what happens is he either weighs off people because he has to, and maybe he even shuts down. If he has another restaurant, he shuts that restaurant down. Or maybe he's at a point where he can't pay his rent.
Okay.
So he doesn't pay his rent, so he tells the landlord, I can't pay my rent. And there's going to be a point where the landlord can't pay their mortgage.
Right, exactly. It starts being a big snowball. Right, yes.
And so then, remember what I said earlier, I said there are two ways to make transactions. There's cash and credit, which is as good as, or is it the same method as cash. And so then the banks go, well, I can't, the brunt of it comes on the banks. And so they say, well, we can't extend this credit. A credit is simply an agreement. Anyone can make an agreement. Like if, say you're at the bar. I know you don't go to bars, but say you're at one. You buy, you get your beer. What are they? I don't drink.
I don't
$2?
drink beer. Do you think I drink beer?
Well, probably not.
No. I know. Let's say $5.
Okay, say you $5.
Yeah.
And the transaction's completed.
Yes.
Okay, but I grab said put it on my tab.
Right.
So the transaction's not completed until some point in the future.
Until the tab is paid.
Until the tab is paid.
All right, gotcha.
But what the bartender did was extend you credit.
Mm-hmm.
That was just an agreement between two. One, he believes you're going to pay it.
Right.
And so the transaction's made. But, so what you do, you have to spend some money sometime in the future, whether it's 5 minutes from now, or a day from now, or 30 months from now, or a year from now. And that's how that kind of works. So what COVID has done is basic elements that stopped transactions. It slowed those down. And until people get a feel again, have the confidence enough about making those basic transactions, and it's going to be a problem now. So how do you do that? That's the next thing. And that's where innovation comes in.
Right.
So there are a couple of ways with innovation. One is, look for some type of vaccine. And then so innovative ways that way. And then also the market. We've got to come up with ways that we can do those transactions.
Right.
And that's where we talk about where economic development can help.
In regard to different cities, right? Economic development. We have 2 minutes left, so.
Oh, okay. Well, we may have to come back. Maybe next time we can do something else with this. But figuring out new and innovative ways to get the money from one source or the other to make those
this could be a really good time for people that are entrepreneurs, I think.
This is actually an excellent time.
Yeah. And so, maybe you can come back next week or in a couple of weeks and we can talk about some of the things that our viewers can do to make this a winning situation.
10 things or something like that.
Yeah. So will you come back and we'll talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. And just, we're running out of time now, but I want to talk about that and sort of what's happening here in Ellis County and in southern Dallas County as well.
Okay.
So, all right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm Rita Cook. This is
John Hubbard.
And we are glad you're watching.